Over 75% of buckets at the college level come on 2 dribbles or less. And if you want that scholarship to push your game to the next level, or even just to score more efficiently every time you step on that court, you've got to know exactly what to work on and how to score even when the ball isn't in your hands the majority of the game. So we just dropped the Efficient Score package. If you aren't able to score really effectively off of simple 1 and 2 dribble pull-ups, you're probably leaving a ton of points on the table. Plus, it's one of the easiest ways to get buckets, so I'm going to break it down step by step for you to help you maximize your scoring ability. So first, let's talk about where and how you can find these simple dribble pull-ups as an offensive player. The first thing I'll always emphasize is to look for closeouts. This is 100% the most surefire way to get into these. Just simply attacking players who are closing out on you. When we're on the perimeter and a defender is rushing to get out to contest a potential shot, it's going to be tough for them to completely reverse their momentum and stay with you as you move forward. Plus, if you throw in a pump fake, it's even more likely to create good space from that defender. Then it's just about knocking down that shot. So the 2 most common times you'll see these closeouts are 1, opportunities where the defender is scrambling and your teammate makes that extra swing pass. And 2, when you're one of the other 3 players on the pick and roll. Defenders will likely rotate away from you. So if you have players who can make this pass on your team, you'll likely be attacking a closeout. Plus, passes out of post-ups, transition opportunities, and a lot more. Now, once you have that advantage on the defender, the first thing many players are curious about is the footwork to get into this pull-up jumper, and whether it should be a hop or a 1-2. Neither the hop or the 1-2 is inherently better. Is the 1-2 a bit more frequently used? For sure, but it's dependent on the situation. So when is it best to get into that 1-2 footwork? Well, these are a bit quicker. When we think of raising up quickly and popping off that ground, this is the one we use most times. It also follows our natural jumping motion more closely, so many times it feels more natural. So I'd say it's generally the best for getting into that pull-up rapidly. On the other hand, hops are good many times when we're out of rhythm and we need a hop to reset our footwork. Or when it's impossible to get that 1-2 down in time because of our body positioning like here. That hop can get us into that jump very quickly. Sometimes you may even need to use an outside leg 1-2. This is a little bit more unexpected in games as sometimes you'll get by going downhill and you see a defender suddenly step up. So you have to stop short with that outside foot like right here. But it's valuable to have this in your bag and rep it out just in case it happens in game. Also, many times we're taught to cover as much ground as possible on your pull-ups, but this isn't the case. Especially at higher levels, the court becomes very condensed, and covering a ton of ground will bring you into another player many times. So sometimes we've got to take a much smaller dribble, stop short, and prevent bringing ourselves within that defender's reach. Or even a dribble in place if we're taking the most extreme example. But sometimes our defender is trailing us and we have more space to work with, so covering more ground is a good thing, like right here. And there will also be times when the only space that's open isn't in front of you, but to the side and somewhat away from the bucket. So don't only work on jumpers going straight towards the bucket, because chances are you're also going to need that ability to shoot dribbling away from the rim or laterally sometimes. And many times on these lateral jumpers, you're going to have to rotate mid-air simply because you don't have the time to rotate all the way and then jump. And one great way to do this is a slight leg kick, which many times is subconscious, but you see that all these guys are doing it very well to make sure they're becoming squared in mid-air. Sometimes we still won't create enough separation to get into this pull-up comfortably, and that's okay, but we're going to have to be creative and find ways to create extra separation. The most obvious one to me is again a simple pump fake. Another technique you'll see a lot is a simple tap step back. So this doesn't have to be a huge step back at all, but just a little tap backwards or to the side after you get to that spot can really create a few important inches of separation. Finally, I'll give you 3 quick tips to really maximize your pull-up ability. First is to train to get that ball quickly into your shot pocket. The less delay you can have getting that ball from the ground to your hand, the more efficient the shot will be. And this is also something I train a lot with players I work with and in our virtual training program. Also, be able to shoot out of rhythm. So whether you have to stop your momentum to get into a pump fake and go straight back up into it, or shooting off of step backs, make sure you're not just practicing getting into that simple 1-2 pull-up every time. Lastly, train to pop off the ground quickly and at least somewhat explosively. Especially at higher levels, every inch and millisecond matters. So the quicker you can get off the ground and the higher you can elevate, it's generally for the better. Obviously build up to this, but this is something that the best pull-up shooters have in common. Hopefully you guys took something from this video. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you want more, check out my Instagram at ByAnyMeansBasketball and our virtual training programs, which I put in the description.